The glorious future of the children of God. I will not permit a single one of my children to become confused nor to be lost. I will convert those parasitic plants into fruitful ones, for all creatures have been created to reach a perfect goal. I want you to rejoice with me in my work. Previously, I have already shared my attributes with you because you are part of me. If everything belongs to me, I also make you owners of my work. Do not doubt my word. In the first era, I fulfilled my promise to liberate Israel from the slavery in Egypt that symbolized idolatry and darkness, to bring you to Canaan, a land of freedom and worship of the living God. There my coming as a man was announced, and the prophecy was fulfilled, word for word, in Christ. I, the Master, who inhabited and loved you in Jesus, promised the world to speak to it in another time, to manifest myself in spirit. Have you had? Here you have the fulfillment of my promise. Today I announce to you that I have reserved for you marvelous regions, dwellings, and spiritual mansions where you can find the true freedom to love, to do good, and to extend my light. Can you doubt it after the fulfillment of my earlier promises? My divine yearning is to save you and carry you to a world of light, beauty, and love where you will yearn for the elevation of the spirit, the nobility of the sentiments, and the ideal of perfection. What is more, do you not perceive in this divine yearning my love as Father? Certainly, whoever cannot understand this must be blind. Look, all the galas of this world are destined to disappear and give way to others, but your spirit shall continue to live forever, and shall behold the Father in all his splendor, the Father from whose bosom you sprang. All that is created must return to the place it came from. I am the light, the peace, and eternal happiness, and as you are my children, I both wish to and must make you participants in my glory, and that is why I teach you the law as the road that leads the spirit to the heights of that kingdom. Keep always in mind that the spirit that reaches the high grades of goodness, wisdom, purity, and love is beyond time, pain, and distances. It is not limited to inhabiting one place, for it can be everywhere and find in all a supreme delight in existing, in feeling, in knowing, in loving, and knowing it is loved. That is the heaven of the Spirit. My peace be with you. 8. Human Beings. Chapter 32. Incarnation, Nature, and Duties of Human Beings. Incarnation on earth. When one of your loved ones departs for the spiritual valley, you weep instead of being filled with peace, realizing that he is getting one step closer toward his Lord. On the other hand, you celebrate when a new baby comes to your home without realizing at that moment that the Spirit has come to fulfill a restitution in this valley of tears. It is then when you should weep for that Spirit. You bear children of your flesh, but I am he who distributes the spirits in families, in peoples, in nations, in worlds, and in such justice impenetrable for men. My love is manifested. You live in the present and do not know what I have destined for your future. I am preparing a great legion of spiritual beings, which shall have to come to inhabit the earth on a delicate mission, and it is necessary that you know that many of you will be parents of these children, in whom my envoys are made flesh. Your duty is to prepare yourselves to receive and guide them. I would like to speak to you much of spiritual teachings, but you would not yet understand them. If I reveal to you the dwelling places to which you had descended on earth, you would not be able to conceive how you lived in such places. Today you can deny knowing the spiritual valley, because I have closed to your spirit, being incarnated, its past, so that you do not presume, succumb, nor become dejected when confronted with your new existence, which should begin like a new life. Even if you should wish to, you could not remember. I concede to you only the conservation of a thought or intuition that I reveal to you, so that you persevere in the struggle and consent when faced with trials. You may doubt all that I tell you, yet that valley was truly your dwelling place when you were a spirit. You were dwellers in the mansion in which you did not know pain, in which you felt the glory of the Father in your being, for there was no stain in it. Nonetheless, you had earned no merits. It was necessary that you leave heaven and descend to the world so that your spirit, by its own efforts, conquers that kingdom. Yet little by little you descended morally until you felt very far from the divine and the spiritual from your origin. When the Spirit arrives on earth, it comes animated with the best intentions of consecrating its existence to the Father, of pleasing Him in all things, and of being useful to his fellow men. But once imprisoned in the material, tempted and tried in 1,000 different ways during the journey, it weakens, cedes to the impulses of the flesh, and its temptations become selfish, finishes loving itself above all things, and only at moments listens to its conscience, where its destiny and the promises are written. My word helps you to remember your spiritual pact and to overcome the temptations and obstacles. None can say that they have never strayed from the path I have traced for them, but I forgive you so that you can learn to forgive your brothers. A great spiritual lesson is necessary to make man walk the road according to the voice of his conscience, for the material world that surrounds him, in spite of all being saturated with divine love and being wisely constructed for the good and the happiness of man, it constitutes a task for the spirit from that instant that it comes to inhabit a world it does not belong to, united to a body whose nature is different from its own. There you can find the cause for the spirit forgetting its past. From the instant it is made flesh in an unconscious, newly born creature and fuses to it, it begins a joint life together with that being. Of the spirit, there remain only two attributes present, the conscience and intuition, but the personality, the works performed, and the past are temporarily hidden. Thus has it been decided by the Father. What would become of the spirit that comes from the light of a higher dwelling, to dwell among the miseries of this world, if it remembered its past? And how many vanities there would be among men if the greatness that existed in their spirits in another former life were revealed to them? The real value of the body and its guiding by the Spirit. I do not tell you to purify only your spirits, but also to strengthen your physical body, so that the new generations which come from you might be healthy, and their spirits will be able to fulfill their delicate missions. Be careful of the health of your body. Seek its protection and strengthening. My doctrine counsels you to have charity with your spirit and your body, for both are complementary and need each other for the delicate spiritual fulfillment that is entrusted to them. Do not give your body a greater importance than it really has, nor allow it to occupy the place that only corresponds to your spirit. Understand that the physical body is only the instrument that you need to so that the Spirit manifests Himself on earth. See how this doctrine is for the Spirit. For while the material shell, comes from every day closer to the bosom of the earth. The Spirit, in contrast, comes closer, ever closer to eternity. The body is the support in which the Spirit rests while it inhabits the earth. Why let it become a chain that limits or imprisons you? Why allow it to be the guiding force of your life? Is it right for the blind to guide one who has sight in his eyes? This teaching is simple, as it's all that is pure, divine, and for that reason, easy to comprehend. Yet to put it in practice at times will seem difficult to you. The works of the Spirit require efforts, renunciation, and sacrifice on the part of your body. And when you lack education or spiritual discipline, you must suffer. From the beginning of time, a struggle has existed between the spiritual and the material in trying to comprehend what is just and what is right and good in order to create a life in conformity with the law presented by God. In the midst of that battle, it seems as though a strange and malevolent force is inducing you at each step to distance yourselves from the struggle, inviting you to continue on the path of materialism in use of your free will. I tell you that there is no more temptation than the weakness of your body. It is sensitive to that which surrounds it and quick to give in, easy to fall and surrender. Yet he who has managed to dominate his impulses, passions, and the weaknesses of the flesh has conquered the temptation that he bears within himself. The earth is a battlefield. There is much to learn. Were it otherwise, a few years of life on this planet would be enough that you would not be sent to reincarnate again and again. There is no tomb darker and gloomier for the spirit than its own body. If in it there is scum and materialism, my word raises you from that tomb and then gives you wings so that you may take flight to the regions of peace and spiritual light. The importance of the spirit and the conscience of man. The body could live without the spirit, animated only by the material life, but it would not be a human. It could possess a spirit and be lacking in conscience, but it could not be guided by itself, nor would it be the superior being who by means of the conscience knows the law, distinguishes good from evil, and receives every divine revelation. Let it be the conscience that illuminates the spirit, and the spirit which guides the flesh. While some in the world pursue false greatness, others say that man is an insignificant creature before God. And there are those who compare themselves to a worm in the soil. Certainly, your material form in the midst of creation may seem small to you, but for me it is not, due to the wisdom and power with which you were created by me. How can you judge the dimensions of your being by the size of your body? Can you not feel the presence of your spirit? It is bigger than your body. Its existence is eternal, its road infinite. Of its development you cannot see either its end or its beginning. I do not wish you small. I formed you to achieve greatness. Do you know when I see man as small? When he is lost in sin, for it is then that he has lost his nobility and dignity. It has been a long time since you are not with me, since you ignore in reality who you are, for you have allowed many attributes to sleep within your being, powers and gifts that your Creator deposited in you. You are asleep to your spirit and your conscience, and it is in precisely those spiritual attributes that the spiritual greatness of men is founded. You imitate the beings of this world because in it they are born and die. With my word of love, I demonstrate to you the value that your spirit has to me. Nothing exists in material creation that is greater than your spirit, not the sun with its light, nor the earth with all its marvels, nor is there any other creature greater than the spirit I have given you, for it is a particle of the divine. It is the flame that springs from the divine spirit. After God, only the spirits possess spiritual intelligence, conscience, and free will. Above the instincts and inclinations of the flesh, there rises a light that is your spirit, and above that light, a guide, a book, and a judge, which is the conscience. Humanity, in its materialism, asks me, can it be true that the kingdom of the Spirit exists? And I answer, O unbelievers, you are the Thomases of the third era. To feel pity, compassion, tenderness, kindness, or nobility are not attributes of the material, nor are the graces and gifts that you carry hidden within you. All those sentiments that you bear engraved in your hearts and minds, all those powers are from the Spirit, and you must not deny it. The flesh is a limited instrument, but the Spirit is not. It is great because it is an atom of God. Seek the mansion of the Spirit in the depths of your being, and the great wisdom in the greatness of love. Truly I tell you that from the first days of humanity, man has had the intuition that within he bore a spiritual being, a being which, though invisible, manifested itself in the various works of his life. From time to time, your Lord has revealed the existence of the Spirit, its existence and its arcane, for even though you bear it within you, the veil that the material wraps you in is so dense that you cannot come to see that which is most noble and pure in your being. Many are the truths that men have dared deny. Nonetheless, belief in the existence of a spirit has not been one of the most fought against, for man has felt and has come to understand that to deny the spirit is like denying your very self. Human matter, when it has degenerated because of its passions, its vices, and its materialism, becomes a chain, a blindfold of darkness, a prison, and an obstacle to the development of the spirit. In spite of this, you have never lacked an interior ray of light to help you in your moments of testing. Truly I tell you, the purest and most elevated expression of the Spirit is the conscience, the divine interior light that makes it the first, the greatest, and the most noble of all the creatures that surround it. To all the people I say, the highest and most beautiful title that man possesses is that of child of God, though it is necessary that it be merited. That is the purpose of the law and the teachings, to inspire you in the learning of my truth, so that you may be worthy children of the divine Father, who is the sum of perfection. You know that you were created in my image and likeness, and when you say it, you think of your human form. I say to you that your likeness to God is not physical, but spiritual. In order to liken yourself to me, you must perfect yourself by practicing deeds of virtue. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am justice and goodness, all of which proceeds from divine love. Do you now understand how you should be in order to be in my image and likeness? In you there is a reflection of the divine. In truth you bear me. The intelligence, the will, the powers, senses, and virtues you possess speak of an essence superior to that to which you belong, and are a living testament of the Father from whom you sprang. At times the image of me that you carry within, you manage to stain and profane with disobedience and sin, and that you are not like me, for it is not enough to have a human body and a spirit to be the image of the Creator. Your true resemblance to me is in your light and your love for all your fellow men. I made you in my form and image, and if I am the Trinity in one, then in you too exists the Trinity. Your material body represents the creation in its formation and perfect harmony. Your incarnated spirit is an image of the divine word that was made man to trace a path of love for men in the world, and your conscience is a radiant spark of the divine light of the Holy Spirit. What merit would your spirit achieve acting in a material body, without free will and sensuous tendencies. The struggle of the spirit with its material body is one of power against power. In that crucible, the spirit must test its superiority and its elevation. That is the trial where the spirit has often succumbed momentarily to the temptations of the flesh. The power exerted over the spirit is so strong that it seems that a supernatural and evil power was dragging it toward the abyss, causing it to be lost in the passions. How great is the responsibility of the spirit before God! The flesh is not bound by this responsibility. Notice how once dead, the flesh will forever rest on earth. When will you achieve enough merits that will make your spirit worthy of living in dwellings which are more perfect than the one in which you now live? The world offers you crowns that only speak of vanity, of arrogance, and of false greatness. To the spirit that knows how to disregard those vanities, another crown is reserved in the hereafter, that of my wisdom. Life should manifest itself first in the spirit, then in the flesh. How many beings have dwelt on earth, but how few of them were spiritually alive and have manifested their spiritual grace to humanity, that divine spark given to man by the Creator. If men can maintain transparency in their consciences, through them they shall be able to contemplate their past, their presents, and their futures. The Spirit is similar to my arcane, and oh, how much is contained in that! At every step and in every instant, there is something to reveal to you, manifestations at times so profound that they are incomprehensible to you. That spark of light that exists in each human is the tie that unites man to the spiritual. It is that which puts him in contact with the beyond and with his Father. Oh, if only your material form could take in that which your spirit receives through clairvoyance, for the spirit never ceases to see, even when the body, because of its material nature, perceives nothing. When will you know how to interpret your spirit? You who do not love life because you regard it as cruel, as long as you do not recognize the importance of the conscience in man, or allow yourself to be guided by it, you will find nothing of real value. It is the conscience which elevates the spirit toward a superior life above the flesh and its passions. Spirituality will enable you to feel the great love of God when you succeed in practicing it. Then you will understand the importance of life. You will contemplate its beauty and will find its wisdom. Then you will surely understand why I have called it life. After knowing and understanding this teaching, who will dare reject it, saying that it is not the truth? When you understand that within the conscience is your true value, you will live in harmony with everything created by your Father. Then the conscience will beautify the poor human life, but first it will be necessary for man to withdraw from all passions which separate him from God, in order to follow the path of justice and wisdom. That will be the beginning of the true life for you. This life which today you regard with indifference because you do not realize what you are despising nor imagine its perfection. The temple of God in man, the concept that humanity has of me is infantile because they do not know how to penetrate the revelations that I have ceaselessly given them. For he who knows how to prepare, I am visible and tangible and present everywhere. In contrast, for he who does not possess sensibility because materialism has hardened him, he barely understands that I exist and feels me to be immensely distant and impossible to be felt or seen in any form. It is necessary that man knows that he bears me within himself, that in his spirit and in the light of his conscience he has the presence of the divine. The pain that weighs down the men of this era is leading them step by step without realizing it to the doors of the inner sanctuary, before which, unable to go further, they will ask, Lord, where are you? And from the interior of the temple, the sweet voice of the Master will answer, Here I am, where I have always dwelt, in your conscience. You were born in me. You took both spiritual and material life from the Father, and in a figurative sense, at the moment you were born in me, I was born in you. I am born in your conscience. I grow with your evolution, and I manifest myself fully in your works of love, so that you will say full of pleasure, the Lord is with me. Today, as beginning students, you are not always able to comprehend my teachings. For now, speak to God with your heart and mind, and He will respond to you deep within your being. You will hear His message in your conscience. It will be a clear, wise, and loving voice that you will gradually discover and become accustomed to hearing. I must raise the Church of the Holy Spirit in the hearts of my disciples in this third era. Their God, the Creator, the strong God, the God made man, in the second era, the God of infinite wisdom, will make his dwelling. He lives in you. But if you wish to hear and feel the echo of his word, you must prepare. Who does good feels my presence within them, just as does he who is humble, or who sees his brother in every one of his fellow men. In your spirit exists the temple of the Holy Spirit. That enclosure is indestructible. There are no strong winds or hurricanes that are capable of destroying it. It is invincible and intangible to the gaze of humans. Its columns are the desire to overcome yourself with goodness. Its dawn is the grace that the Father pours out over his children, and its doors, the love of the Divine Mother. For all who knock at my door are touching the heart of the Celestial Mother. Here, disciples, is the truth of the Church of the Holy Spirit, so that you be not of those who become confused by false interpretations. The temples of marble were but a symbol, and of them not one stone will be left upon another. I wish that in your interior altar the flame of faith burns always, and that you understand that with your works you are building the foundations where one day a great sanctuary will stand. I hold all humanity on trial and in preparation within their diverse ideas, for to all I will give a part in the construction of my temple. My peace be with you. Chapter 33. Men and Women, Parents and Children, Family and Marriage. The relationship between man and woman. Before you arrived on earth, I already knew your way and your inclinations, and to help you in your journey, I put in your path a heart that by its love for you would illuminate your road. The heart may be that of a man or a woman. Thus I have wished to help you, so that you may serve as a staff of faith, moral force, and charity for the needy. I wanted you to participate in the joy of being parents, to create beings similar to yourselves, beings to whom I would send spirits to incarnate. Since maternal love exists in the divine and eternal, I wanted there to exist in the human life a being who would represent it, and that being is the woman. In the beginning, the human being was divided into two parts, thus creating the two sexes, one the man and the other the woman. He would have strength, intelligence, and majesty. The woman would have tenderness, grace, and beauty. The man as the seed, and the woman the fertile land. There you have two beings who can feel complete, perfect, and happy only when they are united, for with their harmony they will form one single body, one single will, and one single ideal. This union, when inspired by the conscience and by love, is called matrimony. Truly I say to you, I see that in this time man and woman have deviated from their path. I discover men who forsake their responsibilities, women who flee from their maternity, and others who invade the fields predestined for man. When since ancient times you were told that man is the head of the woman, not because of that should the woman feel scorned, for today I say to you that the woman is the heart of the man. That is why I have instituted and sanctified matrimony, because in the union of those two beings, spiritually equal but corporeally different, a perfect condition prevails. How few are those who aspire to live in the paradise of peace, light, and harmony, lovingly obeying the divine laws. Humanity has traveled over a very long path, and it still prefers to eat the forbidden fruits, which only accumulate sorrow and disappointment in its life. The forbidden fruits are those which, while being good because they have been created by God, can become harmful to man if he has not properly prepared himself or if he consumes them excessively. Man and woman take the fruit of life without preparation, unaware of their responsibility before the Creator when they bring new beings to incarnate on earth. Some ask me, Lord, by chance is human love wrong and abominable in your sight? Do you only approve of spiritual love? No, people. It is true that to the Spirit correspond the highest and purest loves, but in the flesh I also deposited a heart to love with, and I gave it senses so that through them you may love what surrounds you. That love that rests only in the material is characteristic of the irrational beings, because they lack a conscience that illuminates their paths. On the other hand, I tell you that good unions must bring forth good fruits and incarnate in them spirits of light. I have not come to ask superhuman sacrifices of you, neither have I asked that men cease being men to follow me, nor that women cease being women to fulfill a spiritual mission. I have not separated the husband from his wife, nor the wife from her husband to serve me, nor to parents have I said to abandon their children and cease working to follow me. To one and all, upon converting them to laborers in my fields, I have made them understand that by being my servants, they do not cease to be human, and therefore must know to give to God what is God's, and to the world what is of the world. The nature and duty of the man. To you men, I have granted a heritage, a treasure, a woman of whom you are the overseers, in order to love and preserve her. And nevertheless, your companion has come to present her complaints and tears to me because of your lack of understanding. I have said that you are strong, that you have been created in my image and likeness, but I have not sent you to humiliate the woman and make her your slave. I have given you strength so that you may represent me in your home, strong in virtue, in talent, and I have given you a woman as a companion and as a complement in your earthly life, so that you may find fortitude to withstand the ordeals and vicissitudes through the love of both. Think, men, how many times have you made virtuous women fall into your net, finding in them the sensitive and weak spots, and those mirrors formerly clean, and now without their luster? You must make them reflect once again the clarity and beauty of their spirits. Why do you today deprecate the same that yesterday you induced to perdition? Why do you complain of the degeneration of women? Understand that if you had led them on the path of my law, which is the law of the heart and the conscience of respect and charity, loving them with a love that elevates instead of the passion that degrades, you would not now have reason to cry and complain, and they would not have fallen. Men seek and demand that women have virtues and beauty. Why do you demand what you do not deserve? I see that you still believe yourselves to have great merits in spite of falling short in them. Reconstruct with your works, words, and thoughts what you have destroyed, giving honesty, morals, and virtue the value that is theirs. If you strive in this way, men, you will have helped Jesus in his work of salvation. and your hearts will feel joy when you contemplate the homes honored by good wives and worthy mothers. Your happiness will be great when you see virtue return to those who had lost it. Redemption is for everyone. Why should not even the most sinful be saved? For that reason, I tell you, men, work with me to save those who you have led to perdition, encouraging them with the light of my doctrine, and make my loving thoughts come to their minds and hearts. Bring them my messages in the hospitals and prisons, even in the places of mire, for it is there that they cry in repentance and pain for not having been strong when the world with its temptations dragged them toward perversion. Every woman was once a little girl, every woman was once a virgin. And so you can reach their hearts on the path of sensitivity. To the men who have not tarnished those virtues, I will entrust this task. Remember that I have told you, by your works you shall be known. Let the Spirit speak through the material form. However, to those who have not known how to respect the graces deposited by me in that being, I tell you, why say that you love when it is not love that you feel? Why try to make others fall, letting nothing stop you? Think, what would your heart feel if what you do with those plucked flowers were done with your mother, your sister, or with a woman you love, and therefore respect? Have you ever thought of the wounds you cause to the parents who raised their daughters with great love? Ask your heart in a true examination in the light of your conscience if you can reap what you have not sown. How can you prepare your future life if you are wounding your fellow men and women? How many victims will you have? What ending will you have? Truly I tell you that you have sacrificed many victims to the whirlwind of your passions, some of whom belong to your present and others to your past. I desire that the heart and lips that have been a nest of perfidy and lies become a nest of truth and chaste love. Illuminate the paths of others by word and example so that you may be the saviors of fallen women. Oh, if only each of you would redeem just one. Do not speak badly of that woman. The offensive word that wounds one wounds all who hear it, because from that instant all become unfit judges. Respect the actions and secrets of others, for it is not for you to judge them. I prefer to raise men fallen in sin over hypocrites who appear pure but sin. I prefer a sincere great sinner to the false pretense of virtue. If you wish to adorn yourselves, let it be with adornments of sincerity. If you find a virtuous woman of high sentiment, and you feel unworthy of her, although you love her, and then speak badly of her and deprecate her, and if after suffering and understanding your error, you seek her for consolation, in vain will you call at her door. If every woman who has passed through the life of a single man had received from him the word and the feelings of love, respect, and understanding, your world would not now be at the height of sin in which it finds itself. Woman, wife, and mother, women, it is you who with your prayer protect what little peace there is in the world, and who as faithful guardians of the home take care that it does not lack the warmth of love. In this way you unite with Mary to break human arrogance. You women who water the roads of this world with your tears, and who with your blood mark your passage through this life, rest in me to recover new strength and to continue being the bearers of love, the fire of the hearth, and the solid foundation of the home that I have entrusted to you on earth, so that you may continue being like a mother bird, spreading her wings to protect her husband and children. I bless you. I exalt the man and the place of the woman at his right. I sanctify marriage and bless the family. In this era, I come with a sword of love to put all things in their places, for men had put them elsewhere. Truly I tell you that the regeneration of humanity must begin with the women, so that their fruit, which are the men of tomorrow, are found free of the stains that have led them to degeneration. Then it will correspond to men to do their part in this work of reconstruction, for all who have corrupted the woman must regenerate her. Today I have inspired you to save the woman who has stumbled on her path, and when you present her to me, whom you have saved, I will give her a flower, a blessing, and very great peace, so that she will not fall again. If you fulfill this mission in this way, those beings wounded by the world will feel the love of Jesus enter their hearts. I shall listen when in their prayers they tell me, "My Father, do not see my sin, see only my pain. Do not judge my ingratitude, but see my suffering." In that instant, my comfort will descend to that troubled heart, and it will be purified by its tears. Oh, if you only knew how much more the prayer of the sinner is felt than that of the vain, who believe themselves just and clean. Of the love with which I have given you life, men give little sign or evidence. Of all human emotions, that which comes closest to the divine love is maternal love, for in it is disinterest, abnegation, and the ideal of seeking the happiness of the child, even at the cost of sacrifice. And to you, sterile women, the Master says, "Long have you desired and asked that your wombs be converted into fountains of life. You have hoped that when the evening or the morning approaches, a tender heart would be heard beating within you. But the days and nights have passed, and you have only shed tears, because the child has not arrived to call at your door. How many of you who are listening to me, and who have been deprived of hope by science, will have to bear fruit to believe in my power? Thus, through that miracle, many may recognize me. Watch and wait. Do not forget my words." The education of children and adolescents. Parents, avoid mistakes and bad examples. I do not demand perfection of you, only love and charity toward your children. Prepare yourselves spiritually and physically, for the great legions of spirits from the beyond await the instant to incarnate among you. I want a new humanity, which will grow and multiply, not only in number but in virtue, so that it may become aware of the promised land nearby, and its children might be able to live in the New Jerusalem. I want the earth to be filled with men of goodwill who are the fruits of love. Destroy the Sodom and Gomorrah of this time. Do not allow your hearts to become familiar with their sins, nor to imitate their inhabitants. Devotedly guide your children. Teach them to obey the spiritual and the material laws, and if they break them, correct them, for you as parents represent me on earth. Therefore remember Jesus, who filled with holy anger, gave the merchants of Jerusalem a lesson for all times, defending the divine cause, the unchangeable laws. Today you have ceased to be children, and you can now understand the essence of my teachings. You also know that your spirit was not born with the physical body you possess, and that the beginning of one is not of the other. Those children whom you rock in your arms carry innocence in their heart, but in their spirit they hold a past at times much larger and difficult than that of their parents themselves. How great a responsibility there is for those who must cultivate those hearts so that their spirit attains progress along the road. Not because of this should you feel lesser love for your children. Think that you do not know who they are, nor what they have done. Rather, increase for them your charity and love, and be grateful to your Father for having placed in you His mercy to convert you into guides and counselors of your spiritual brothers, whose bodies you become parents of by blood. I say to parents of families, that in the same manner that they worry about the material future of their children, they should also do so for their spiritual future, because of the mission which in that sense they have brought into the world. Understand that when the Spirit is made flesh, it brings with it all its gifts, that its destiny is already written, and therefore it need receive nothing in the world. It brings a message of restitution. At times it comes to gather a harvest, and other times to pay a debt, but always it comes to receive in this life a lesson of the love its Father gives it. You are guiding your children through this life. Once they are past the age of innocence, put them on the road of my law, awaken their sentiments, reveal to them their gifts, and induce them always to the good. And truly I tell you, who in this way comes to me shall be bathed in the light that springs from the divine fire, which is my love. Spiritually, you have traveled a long road, and now you are surprised by the intuition and the development that the new generations show from their most tender infancy, because they are spirits that have lived much and now return to walk at the front of humanity. Some on the paths of the Spirit, and others on the roads of the world, according to their gifts and their mission. Yet in all of them, humanity will find peace. The beings of which I speak will be your children. Do you think that confronted with a bad example by a vice-ridden or evil parent on earth, the child commits an error in not continuing in that way of living? Or do you believe that the child is obliged to follow in the steps of his parents? Truly I tell you, it must be the conscience and reason that guide you on the straight path. Blessed innocence is contaminated with the evil of the world. Youth runs a dizzying race, and the young women have quitted themselves of their modesty, their chastity, and their honesty. All these virtues have parted from their hearts. They have fed the worldly passions and yearn only for those pleasures that lead them to the abyss. I come to speak to you with all clarity so that you rise up and make a firm step in the evolution of your spirit. Ignite in youth the love of their fellow men, inspiring them the great and noble ideals. For it will be they who tomorrow fight for an existence in which justice, love, and the sacred liberty of the Spirit shine. Prepare yourselves all, for the great battle of which the prophecies have spoken has not yet arrived. A word to the girls and young women. All spirits have in me a divine Father, and if I have endowed you with human parents during your physical life, it is to give life to your body and to represent your Heavenly Father near you. I have said to you, love God above everything created, and I have added, honor your father and your mother. Therefore, do not neglect your responsibilities. If you have not recognized the love of your parents and you still have them in this world, bless them and acknowledge their merits. On this day, I am talking especially to the young women, those who tomorrow will have to illuminate the life of a new home with their presence. You should know that the heart of a wife and mother are the lamps that illuminate that sanctuary, just as the Spirit illuminates your inner temple. Prepare yourselves now so that your new life does not surprise you. From this moment, go forth, preparing the path to be traveled by your children, those spirits who await the hour to approach your womb and take human life and form to fulfill their missions on earth. Be my collaborators in my plans for restoration and in my work of regeneration and justice. Distance yourselves from the many temptations that beset your path in this era. Pray for the sinful cities where so many women are lost, where so many sanctuaries are profaned, and so many lamps extinguished. Extend by your example the seed of life, truth, and light that counteract the lack of spirituality in humanity. Pure young women of this people, Awaken and prepare yourselves for the battle. Do not be blinded by the passions of the heart, nor dazzled by what is not real. Develop your gifts of intuition and inspiration, as well as your tenderness and sensitivity. Strengthen yourselves in the truth, and you will have prepared your best weapons for facing the struggle this life presents, so that you may transmit the love in your blood, so that you may sustain your children with the love of which I speak to you so much. You must first live it, saturate yourselves in it, and feel it deeply. That is what my teaching comes to do in your heart. Marriage and family. The law of matrimony descended like a light, which spoke through the conscience of the first beings, so that they would recognize that the union of one with the other signified a pact with the Creator. The fruit of that union was the child in whom the blood of the parents was blended, as proof that what you bind before God cannot be unbound on earth. That joy which the father and the mother feel when they give birth to a child is similar to that which the Creator experienced when he became a father, giving life to his much beloved children. If later I delivered laws to you through Moses, so that you would know how to select a partner and would not covet the wife of your neighbor, it was because humanity, by virtue of its free will, had become lost in the ways of adultery and passions. Time passed. I came to the world in Christ, and with my gentle teaching, which is always the law of love, I elevated matrimony, and with it human virtue. I spoke in parables in order to make my word unforgettable, and I made a sacred institution of matrimony. Now that I am among you again, I ask you, men and women, what have you done to marriage? How few there are who can answer satisfactorily. My sacred institution has been profaned. And from that fountain of life springs pain and death. Upon the purity of that law are the tracks and stains of men and women. The fruit that should have been sweet is bitter, and the cup from which men drink is of gall. You deviate from my laws, and when you stumble, you ask in anguish, why is there such pain? It is because the instincts of the flesh have never listened to the voice of the conscience. Now I ask you, why do you not have peace when I have given you all that is necessary for happiness? I have placed a blue mantle in the sky so that beneath it you may build your nest of love, separating yourselves from the temptations and complications of the world, living in simplicity as do the birds, for in simplicity and in pure prayer one can feel the peace of my kingdom and receive the revelations of many mysteries. Everyone who is united in matrimony before my divinity, even when the union is not sanctioned by any minister, makes a pact with me, a pact which remains recorded in the book of God, where all destinies are written. Who can erase from that book the names of those two who have been united? Who in the world can unhind that which has been united in my law? If I were to disunite you, I would be destroying my own work. When you have asked me to be united on earth, and I have granted it to you, why do you then break your promises and deny your vows? Is it not that you are ridiculing my law and my name? I have spoken to the heart of the woman, wife, and mother who has not known how to maintain the cleanliness of her heart, nor to give to her companion and her children the warmth of tenderness and understanding. How can men and women elevate their spiritual lives if they have not yet corrected the great errors that exist in their human lives? My work requires that its disciples know how to give testimony with the cleanliness and truth of the acts of their lives. To one and all I ask, do you have children? Then have charity for them. If you could for one moment see those spirits, you would feel unworthy to call yourselves their parents. Do not give them bad examples. Take care not to raise a scandal in the presence of your children. I know that in these times, more than ever, there are problems in the bosom of marriages that find only a single solution: distancing, separation. If this humanity had the necessary notion of spiritual knowledge, it would not fall into such grave error, for it would find the inspiration to resolve the most difficult periods and overcome the most difficult trials in prayer and spirituality. My light comes to all hearts, to the sad and the beaten, to encourage them. In the second era, I entered the homes of many marriages joined by the law of Moses. And do you know how I found many of them? Fighting and destroying the seed of peace, love and trust. I saw war and discord in their hearts, at their tables, and in the marriage bed. I entered too in the homes of many who, without having marriages sanctioned by law, loved one another and lived like lovebirds in their nests, cursing and protecting the loved one. How many there are who, living under the same roof, do not love each other, and though not loving each other, are not united, but distant spiritually. Yet they do not make their separation public, for fear of divine punishment, or of human law, or of the judgment of society. That is not marriage. In those beings there is no union, no truth. Nonetheless, they present their false union, visit homes and temples, go out upon the roads, and the world does not judge them, because they hide their lack of love. In contrast, how many who love each other must hide, concealing their real union while suffering from misunderstandings and injustices. Humanity has not risen to understand and judge the lives of their neighbors, those men who hold in their hands the human and spiritual. Laws do not use true justice in sanctioning those cases. Nonetheless, those times of comprehension and prudence that I announce to you, in which humanity will perfect itself, shall come. Then again you shall see, as in the patriarchal times before Moses, when the union of beings was performed, as I have done on this day with my children, spiritually, and as you shall do in times to come, in the presence of the parents of those to be joined, of friends and relatives, and amid the greatest spirituality, fraternity, and rejoicing. My peace be with you.